What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another hunting boot camp. Today I am going over how to find the best teal hunting spots. Teal season is just around the corner, so this is how you do it. But real quick, before I do, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all the latest hunting content. Now, back to the topic at hand. How to find those teal hunting holes, those best teal spots for this upcoming teal season. Let's just jump right into it. So the first tip, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, simply scouting. Scouting is a very important part of waterfowl hunting. It tells you a whole bunch of different things like where the birds are going to be, what if they're using those areas, when they're using those areas, where you can set up, where you can hide. There's so much that goes into scouting, and I'll go into more of what to look for specifically for teal here in just a second. But when you're starting out scouting, start out online, use Onyx or Google Maps, Bing Maps, whatever. There's a whole bunch of different online resources at your disposal that you can use to scout out areas that look good. So you're gonna want, obviously, wet areas. Teal are waterfowl, they like water. You wanna find those areas that look like they might be wet, and I'll expound on that in just a second as well. And then once you find areas that look decent, you need to go out, you need to put boots on the ground, go drive around, look for areas that, number one, are holding water. That can be a huge limiting factor for teal hunting. Like for us, for example, we're in a drought. So a lot of our good teal holes right now are bone dry. So teal ain't gonna be there. But that all goes into it. You need to find those wet areas that you think will hold teal. So to expand on that, what are the areas to look for when you're out there teal hunting? What are the areas that are gonna be those hidden teal hunting holes, those really good teal spots? And like I just said, they have to have water. They need water, and shallow water is what teal really love. So those shallow wetlands, shallow marshes, tailwaters, anywhere where it's gonna be shallow and allow some moist vegetation to grow up. Oxbows, even a few rivers teal will show up on too. But for the most part, those wetlands, those shallow ponds, shallow marshes, teal really flock to those. And also don't overlook flooded crop fields. I've had some of my best teal hunts in flooded cornfields where the rain came in July, or who knows. It just happened to rain heavy over that spot at a certain time, flooded out the crops, but there's still some standing on the edge, so you've got a perfect hide. You've probably got some moist vegetation that the teal like to feed on growing up through that, and that's all you need. That's all you need to attract the teal there. So look for those shallow water areas. Once again, the wetlands, the marshes, the sheet water, flooded crop fields, those are the areas I would concentrate on first when scouting out an area. Those are going to be your best bet for finding teal. So now that you know the areas to kind of look for, what are you looking for specifically within those areas? And I kind of briefly touched on it, but I'll go into more detail here. Starting out, teal food sources. You want something that's going to draw the teal in. What do teal eat? Well, one of them is smartweed. Teal absolutely go nuts for smartweed. There's a whole bunch of different types of it. It can have white flowers, pink flowers, and teal absolutely just love it. It grows up. In my area, they also love something called barnyard grass. It's another plant that they really like the seeds off of. Teal are gonna feed on those little small seeds, tiny invertebrates, stuff like that. Basically all the stuff you find in those shallow water, wetland type areas. So finding some food sources from teal can be a good indicator that the teal are gonna be there. Another thing to look for, and this is super obvious, teal sign. Look for signs that teal are using that area. So if you have exposed mud flats, go out and look at them. Look for little webbed footprints that you think might belong to teal, or teal feathers. If teal are using that area fairly frequently, there's gonna be feathers around there. They'll be floating on the water, they'll be up along the edges. Also look for teal scat. Once again, if they're on those mud flats, they gotta crap somewhere, right? So that could be there as well. And then finally, teal themselves. Go out, look for the teal themselves. If you're seeing teal using an area, pretty good chance they'll still be using that once teal season rolls around. And another thing to look for in regards to finding a good teal hunting spot is a hide. So you might have a perfect wetland, but it's out in the middle of a cut wheat field, or it's out in the middle of some field that has really short cover, no cover. How are you gonna hunt that? You gotta think that stuff through. So if you find a field that has, flooded corn and corn stalks right alongside it, that's your built-in hide. But if not, you've got to think of ways to come up with a good hide so you can get on those spots, or find another spot that has a potentially better hide. And the final tip is when to start looking. When do you need to start scouting out these teal spots? When is the best time? The best time is right now. The best time, about start of August, is when I really go out looking for teal spots. You know, I keep an eye on the wetlands throughout the year that I've hunted in the past, just in case they have water or they dry up. This year they're all dry, so not that big a deal there. But now is prime time to go out and look for teal. Teal start moving in August, so right now is the perfect time to go out and start scouting for those teal, and keep scouting. Don't just go out, you know, a couple weeks before season and be like, okay, they're here. Something might have changed. You know, they might have gotten bumped off for whatever reason and repeatedly got bumped off, or they might have found a better spot. Who knows? But you need to keep going out and routinely scouting those areas so you're able to know fairly well what opening day will be like, what those teal hunting days will be like once the season is here. And when you're scouting, don't just scout at one specific time. So you can go out early morning and you're gonna see a lot of teal. That's when they're gonna be moving around. You know, they like to get active in that first hour or so of the morning. They like to buzz around and pop over to different wetlands and whatnot and come off the roost. And late evening is the same deal. You know, they're gonna go in there. So scout early morning, scout late evening. You can even scout midday, find those loaf ponds that they go to, because just because they're at one place at one time doesn't mean they're gonna be there within another 8 hours or 6 hours or 4 hours even. They're gonna get up and they're gonna move around. They're not gonna typically stick around the same pond all day. So get out, scout, you know, early morning, late evening. Those are the best times to scout, because that's, you know, they're either going in or they're coming out, so you can find those spots. But also, don't be afraid to go out, scout midday, find those loaf pools, find those places where they might be just hanging out, feeding somewhere. So there's really not a bad time to scout. Obviously, if you're gonna be hunting areas early morning or maybe those afternoon teal hunts, scout at that time for those areas. That's another thing to keep in mind, is when are you planning to hunt these areas? Like if you're gonna go out after work, scout that area in the afternoon. If you're gonna go out before work, scout it in the mornings. It's that simple. But that's all I have for you guys. If you follow these tips, hopefully you'll be able to bag a few more teal this upcoming season. If I missed anything, let me know down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you out there. See ya.